call, thinking that I know you're not sure. Make a long stop, ready or not. I see you, but I need to know more. What you wanna do? Cause I know we didn't dance, but I saw you watching on the dance floor. Maybe at the exit door, and maybe we could talk some more. Oh yeah, you stand beside me. Oh, you're watching me, and the feelings.
Greetings. Good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly Lunch and Learn.
In terms of business, if you have a dream, go for it. Pursue it. Work hard at it, because with anything that you want to do, it's going to come hard work. You know, if you don't put the hard work, if you don't put the time into it, it's not going to flourish the way you want to.
Maybe advice for anybody who's looking to start a business, like just do it. Start off small and then kind of expand. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but like once you're in it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this long time ago?
Love you. Tell yourself, I love me too. I love you, Omena. Love you. When you open your heart and your mind, you're opening up to your blessing.
Yeah.
Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn. This week, we are here to understand love as an action word. We're going to be joined by Danny B., who is an author, among many other things that you will find out while she is up here. And she's here to launch her book, or to talk about her book launching, let's say that. Let's bring Danny B. up to the stage. Come on, Danny. And hey, community. Hey, Doreen. Hey, Sabrina. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back. It's so good to have you here. I know the last time you were here, we were talking about your work and what you do in the education field. But today we're here more so to kind of talk about, I believe, what maybe you would consider your passion and purpose work.
Yeah. Yes, I believe that's it. But what I've recognized throughout the years as I am developing myself is that everything connected to me is connected to identity. Everything connected to me is connected to lifestyle. Everything connected to me is connected to style, meaning the way that I walk things out. So all parts of me, when I was speaking about my job, work, dealing with early intervention, what I'm about to talk to you guys about now, even before when I came on in the beginning, talking about like learning styles and the way people relate, it all has to do with identity. It all has to do with self. It all has to do with development. And the foundation of that for me is love. So yeah, lifestyling, that's what I do.
I love that. Well, I have to share with everybody that right before we even got on this call, I have done some work with Danny, and we were kind of just revisiting what I have been able to discover for myself, been able to find out about my own identity. And it brought me to tears, not tears that were like sad tears, but tears that were tears of liberation and freedom. And the thing is right now is that these tears are still right here today. So I'm just gonna warn the community that y'all might just see ugly face Jamie today with some black stuff running down from the mascara, and I'm all good with it. So I hope y'all are too, because Danny is an amazing person, and you guys will get to see that. So please start to unpack with us what exactly understanding love as an action word is, what that means to you.
So I like to deal with words and just definitions first, because I feel like sometimes we use words so casually and we don't connect to the definition. Because if we really started walking out how things are defined, then we would be more in tune with ourselves and how we operate in spaces. So for one, action. Action, the definition of that is the fact or process of actually doing something. So for some people, love, they see it as just a word, but we want to feel love. We want to see love. And the name of my book is called Self-Love. It's a Good Work. The reason why for me it starts there is because it's very hard to actually know what love looks like and what it feels like and what people should be doing if we don't know what it is to love ourselves. And that does not just mean care. You know, a lot of people throw this, oh, I'm self-care. Oh, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to go away. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to get my nails done. All of those things are for the moment. But unless we're doing our self-work, which is inner work, which is heart work, mind work, and footwork, we will not discover who we are in identity, which leads to our individual freedom, which leads to the ultimate space, love. And we were created in love. So for me, action has to be applied, because to say I love you, someone can say I love you and you be like, you know what? I know I hear it, but I don't really feel that. What is it supposed to feel like? Honestly, it's supposed to feel like complete freedom for me and identity, but we can't discover who we are until we do our work, until we start traveling the journey, until we know what it looks like to be kind to ourselves with words. How many times do we do things and it's like, oh, that was stupid, I messed up? Being mindful of our words, our language, you know, all of those things matter. We'll tell someone else that's okay and we'll beat ourselves up. That's not loving ourselves. So the way you treat yourself is very important. But how do you know how to treat yourself unless it was something that was taught to you in action? That's why a lot of times we find ourselves even in relationships where boundaries are crossed, because how can we expect someone to love us if we don't know what that looks like for ourselves? So love being an action word for me is anything that shows up, that pulls and discovers who you are in identity and freedom. So until I get to those places, honestly, I'm not loving myself. And if I can't love myself, how can I show love to someone authentically if I don't know what that looks like for me?
That was very clear. Very clear. I'm hoping that we get some questions from the community and some things, and share if something comes up for you, if you have any experiences in love maybe not showing up as an action word for you, or an example of it showing up for you. Drop the comments down there. Let us know what that looks like for you. I'm sitting here and I'm actually processing in my head everything you said at the same time as you know, navigating the conversation, and so much is coming up for me, so much, even in regards to leading back to that seed that I said that you planted, and kind of those moments just what wasn't felt at that time.
Okay.
There was a lack of love that was missing at that time, that a piece of clothing felt more important than my well-being, or my emotional, physical, and all the other things that came after it from it. So yeah, just
Yeah,
think about the work that me and my little girl have to do to
yeah,
continue to be sure that she understands that, wow, those may not have been the actions, like the love wasn't felt through action. Having to understand. So what I get right now and what I'm getting for myself, and I'll share this with the community, I'm hoping that someone gets something for themselves from this share, is that sometimes traumatized people raise traumatized people. So because that action may not have felt like love, it doesn't mean that wasn't love under the surface. So in knowing the person that I'm speaking of, without, going all the way there, because that's our private work,
mhm,
I know that that person, it wasn't from a place of non-love. It was from a displacement of the love. It was from the traumatized love. And I get it. So it helps me even be able to even be able to understand that and to be able to continue to, yes, Nadia, like you said, continue to go deeper and deeper because it's more under there. But even just saying that right now, it allows the tears to actually start to relax a little bit. And it feels like we said at the top, liberating and free. It feels free to understand exactly
Mhm.
why that action might not have felt like love on those days and in those moments.
Yeah.
So thank you for that clarity.
Absolutely. Just even speaking to my own story, and even as you were speaking, what I hear you saying, it allows us to give other people grace because even where my experiences that I'm about to talk about shortly, where I didn't feel chosen, where I didn't feel seen, where I didn't feel heard, I felt invisible, and I felt a lot of rejection, you know? Um, I decided to go forward in changing what that looks like when I connect with other people or even with my own family because I understood the feeling. But there was still some things that needed to be tapped into that had to be peeled away like an onion, you know, because you don't know what's there until you can see it and name it in order to bring it up. However, the layers starting from the surface has to go through its healing process before we get to the depth of it because now you know you're ready. Now I have the sight that I need to have. I have the glasses that I need to wear to actually be able to see the next level or the next layer of what needs to be renovated. So even as you were speaking, the grace, because that comes with grace and it also comes with forgiveness. Because when you have an understanding of something, you recognize that it's not a blame or a fault, even though there should be acknowledgement. And even though whatever happened or happened to me or whatever the case may be was not okay, but there's not a blame. There's an understanding that allows me to forgive and move past that because I need to now see who I am despite what has happened to me or with me, you know? So in my own story, I am the only girl from my mom and my dad. And I was not treated the best. I was not treated the best. Yes, I wore the best. I wore the best. And let's not get that twisted. I wore the best. I looked very nice, you know? And it appeared that I was in dance, I was in so many different things, but taking care of me physically and having me show up in a way that was appealing for people around me was not soothing for my soul, my identity, or my heart. Because under all of that, I was broken and I did not feel seen. My voice felt like it was stifled and pulled back. And it really broke me. You know, outside of that, there were other things that I dealt with physically, you know, but it also now I can understand in a new place. Forgiving my mom, forgiving my mom was a big deal. And when I forgave her, and I forgave her years ago, I felt like weights dropped off of me. Weights. And the forgiveness wasn't necessarily because for the years I was like, look, there is going to be a change. This is something I'm hoping for. This is something I'm praying about because everybody wants that mommy daughter relationship. I craved it. I desired it. I chased it. However, there had to be a time where I had to understand that whether was she even able to give it to me? Did she have the capacity? And now, and don't get it twisted. I'm a daughter. I'm still a woman, you know, and there are times I would love to crawl in my mom's bed, but that's no longer a place I'm bleeding from because every area that I've forgiven in that space, I found pieces of me. Like literally, like God for me just restored the pieces that were missing and the pieces that were chopped up. And it actually played out physically for me as it was happening spiritually, you know? I'm gonna say even not it hasn't even been a year yet. I went through a surgery. I had fibroids. And 10 years ago or so, I had one fibroid. And I wasn't taught about my body growing up, and I'm sure a lot of us weren't. I didn't know anything. I found out about my period when I had my period. That's just what it was. Um, And not really knowing about my body 10 years ago, they found a fibroid. I realized, like, I was bleeding a lot. I was cramping. I went to the doctor. They said I had a fibroid. Cool. I had to get the surgery, the myomectomy. I had to get the surgery. I had to get 2 blood transfusions behind that. I didn't know the seriousness of it. When I got it, it was just like, it's a surgery. Everybody's nervous about surgery, but not understanding what was really going on with my body. Going forward 10 years later, I was transitioning in jobs, and I knew I had to, like, let me transfer insurances. So let me go to all the doctor's appointments and get that out the way. I made an appointment for the GYN, and I wasn't having any pain, wasn't bleeding overly bleeding or anything like that. I went to the doctor just for a regular checkup. And they were like, oh, yeah, you have 8 fibroids. I was like, what? I had no idea. It took me an hour to get myself together after breaking down in the car. Because I'm like, again, like, and mind you, I was thinking about, oh, I just started a new job. Why was I even thinking about that? Loving myself. Why was I thinking about my job before my health? Why was I telling them after this surgery that was going to be major, I was coming in a week or 2 weeks because I'm working from home? Why would I not say I'm taking all the time? Why would I not rest my body? Why? Who did not give me the right? I didn't give myself the right. I can't knock someone for not treating me away or loving me away if I am not setting an example of what that looks like and setting the boundary. So going forward, I went in, I had the surgery. I didn't have 8 fibroids. I had 33. 33 oh, yeah. You saw your face? Yeah, that's what I said coming up out of anesthesia. I had 33 fibroids, and they were all hiding in my body. And I did not have any pain. From 10 years ago, I had 1. I had 2 blood transfusions. For 33, there was no blood transfusions. I did not bleed out. And I didn't get a hysterectomy. That was a blessing for me because it's not something I wanted personally, and my doctor honored that. But there was a grace and a wind on her when she did it. So in my ear, literally sitting in the hospital, all I could hear was like, first of all, I knew I had to take the 6 weeks off in that moment, not because I felt it, but there was like, I felt engulfed in love, like my creator, my God, like love. And I could not believe that this was the process I had just went through. And I was still trying to wrap my mind around it. Coming into this new space where I'm taking the time, the 6 weeks, I heard every area, every fibroid was literally a year of trauma for you. Because we don't know where fibroids come from, right? We think, but our body literally sucks in trauma and creates sickness. So everything that was happening in that moment, the fibroids that I had, 33 years, this was my 40th year in October. 33 years, it's 33 years of trauma. 7 years old really for me is when trauma began. So 7 plus 33 is 40. It was my 40th year. So God had to clean me all out, okay? Restore me, clean me out to make room for the new, because I have stepped into identity. I did not know who I was before. I was in process, and I was journeying that thing, but I wasn't 10 toes down. I wasn't rooted and grounded. But as I went through this process, this is actually when I was writing the book. Because my assignment was, as I heal, I have to write about it in its rawest form. And then after that, God said, oh, go back and read the book that you just wrote. Because we think that it's over when we're processing. First of all, we're healing. We're going to be healing and evolving and discovering more about ourselves as long as we're living. It's a journey. It's a journey, but it's a journey we get to enjoy. I just felt this heaviness of excitement just now, because it's not a journey where we're travailing and we're just carrying. No, it's something we get to enjoy. We get to enjoy discovering who we are. I got to a space where I could now see the little girl that was waiting for me to get her. Right. A little girl that when I first started feeling anxiety and feeling all these things, and I was like, oh, I don't recognize myself. I don't like her. Get her away from me because it does not look like me. Because again, what I recognized was there was an adult that was suppressing the little girl so she can live, when all I was doing was adding to the suffocation. So once I found her and we connected, we are skipping through the valley. We are skipping through the garden. Not because I have it all together, not because I know everything, but I'm secure in understanding that I am chosen, I am loved, there is promise and purpose on my life, and nothing that I've ever been through was in vain, because what I get to do is now let my branches spread and be that space and tell people it's okay. Okay. And it's okay to ugly cry. It's not just a beginning and an end. It's not that. It's a whole process. And that process comes with development. So give yourself some grace. Get the
Yes.
pressure off your back. Get the pressure off your back. Even discipline is about practicing something consistent. When you're learning how to do something, you're going to mess up. It's going to be something you erase. If you're learning how to write script, you're going to erase it a couple of times before you find your rhythm and your flow. So even in discipline, sometimes we think it's supposed to be like this all the time, and then we're beating ourselves down. No, give yourself grace. Every single time you get up to make a decision on this is what I'm going to do, that is better, that I felt led to do, that is something I do easy, that's discipline.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So much came up for me through your shares. I'm like, they always, so I'm tying together the threads between the metaphysical. You spoke of your fibroids, you spoke of the years of trauma. They say that, I'm a Reiki healer, and we believe in the chakras, and that the womb is where, and then not only that, our other groups and collectives that we are in together, we know that traumas are stored in the womb. So it would totally make sense that fibroids would be connected to our traumas, and then the fact that they're in the womb and stored there. That 33 is powerful. And yes, our God is good, because I know for a fact that I needed you here with us to continue to help me to forgive, unpack, liberate, and free myself. And just to be my sister, and to continue to be the dope tree that you're called to be, deeply rooted, strong. And for any of you out there who don't know, I'm about to give a shameless plug, because we are in the season in between where we are about to begin another cohort. I met this amazing lady here in front of us, and Athenia Rodney as well, who is in charge of this whole entire Juneteenth baby, through an amazing women's collective program called Be the Tree. And that's exactly what this work that you see, this conversation that you see, this is what our lives looks like by being part of a collective that brought us together. And I'm so grateful to that collective. Yes, shameless plug. But I did also come up with something else while you were talking, Danny, something for Juneteenth on its own. And that is hashtag Juneteenth testimonies. Down, Athenia. Hashtag, I have to look it up and see if it's being used much. I hope it's not. But I know that your share today and where it came from, to me, it embodies exactly what Juneteenth means, and why I show up, and why I have learned to discipline myself on Thursdays at 11:30 to show up, to just be here to host every person that comes through, that shares their stories, that pours back into this community, that is sharing of their heart, of their experiences, of everything that they have to give back. And thank you. So this book launch, tell us about the book launch, because I know that you have some amazing things planned with it. It's not just your typical book launch. She's not going to be sitting somewhere just signing things where you walk up to her table and keep it moving. I'm going to pass it back to Danny so she can tell you all about it.
So for one, I'm a whole creative. I am a lifestylist. I style, fashion, clothing is connected to you're in relationship with it. So it's connected to identity. I'm newly an actual coach. I do workshops and professional developments as well. And I went to school for guidance and counseling, so I'm also licensed in that department as well. But I love the arts and creative and just being creative in spaces. So I would never have anyone come into a space and you will not just be and see, but you will feel transformation and process. That is the name of my brand. Transformation and process. When you walk in, from the beginning, from the time that you walk in the door to the time that you leave, there will be some form of transformation. We don't just, we have panelists, but it's not going to be whatever you think about panelists, whatever you think about someone sitting down interviewing. I want you to erase all of that right now, because that's not what's happening. But I'm not going to tell you all of that, because you got to be there to see it. 4 o'clock, February 18th. You're going to have to be there. The information will be in the chat. But it's going to be panelists. It's going to be me and a few other people. It's going to be artists. There are going to be poets. There's going to be, first of all, I don't invite anyone anywhere without making sure you feel like you have something to munch on, something to snack on. So we're going to have an amazing chef. My name is Iwanza, Chef Zesty. We're going to have some strategists in the building. We're going to have some counselors in the building. We're going to have some everyday people in the building, but they have stories. We have owners. Thank you to the Treasured Empire for allowing me to use her space, amazing space, and it's in Industry City. So you guys are definitely gonna want to be in the space. And guess what? It's Valentine's weekend. We're in the month of love. What is considered the month of love? So why not start with you? You, self-love. It's a good work, y'all, because what comes out on the other end is gold, priceless. And that is you, the beauty of you. When it comes to me and even individuals that I connect with and I partner with, it's really, you are the center of everything. You are the center of it. So that's what we're discovering on the 18th of February at 4 p.m. at the Treasured Empire in Industry City. The link is in the bottom. Get your tickets now because they are live.
I absolutely.
I'm
so sad I'm not going to be home in New York that weekend. I can't wait to see the replays or some footage, some shots, so that way I can make sure. And then in the next time, you gotta let me know. Tell me directly, so that way I could get a flight home.
Definitely.
I'll come through for that. So I definitely want to visit. Thank you for that, for sharing. And I would like us to go to the chat box, to the comment box. So I'm going to kind of take us back up to the top. So we have just some recaps. Hold on, I'm going to scroll down. Okay, we said good morning. Had a lot of love for Danny B here. Nadia said Danny is amazing. She loves the title. Taisha Eason is watching with us on YouTube. Hey, Taisha. She says, hey, Danny B. She's so proud of you.
Thank
Evelyn
you.
said, hi, Danny. It's Evelyn.
Oh, hey, Evelyn. Oh my gosh. Like you don't understand. And also I want people to know that there were times where I had to be set apart for purpose. There were times where, like, God literally, I felt like I was cocooned, and I write about that in the book, where I was cocooned, and people think about the metamorphosis and they're like, oh, the caterpillar just eats. The caterpillar eats to fill itself and to make sure it's going to be nurtured for the time that it's coming. It prepares. And when it's in this dark cocoon, people think, oh, it's just growing in there, it's transforming. It's a dark, tight space. It literally destroys itself in order to come out to be this beautiful butterfly in this tight, dark space. So there were times where I had to be set apart. It's okay to be set apart and to be pulled apart for purpose. It's not personal, but it's purposeful. And then when I was able to come out, what God did was surround me with community. Surrounded me with community. I had community before in the spaces that I was in, because we all need support, and your village will forever be changing. Some people will stay, some people will go, some people will be for a season and reason. And that's just what it is. But we have to be okay with that, because what I understand, even about that and even about friendships, we don't belong to each other.
Exactly. Yes.
We don't own each other.
Yes.
what you need, I have what I need to do. And what happens is even as a friend, I show up the way that I need to, not the way people desire me to. Because sometimes my need may not even be what you want, but it's what I'm called for and what I have the grace for. So I only operate in that space of grace. Now, when I say that I've had the village for support, I've had my alone time, and then the village that came after. And even now, I have community. I even found community in, I'm gonna do a plug too as well. I found community, and definitely during my healing process, I was definitely with Be the Tree. And when I came out in this space, and we're also still affiliated and still together, then God also put me in a place called, it's a organization called Women Under One Roof. And now what I'm doing is business and Bible and here and identity. So that space right there. So the people, the women that are also on here are connected to Women in One Roof. So thank you guys for also being here to support and being a part of my community. What I do understand is as you evolve and become more of yourself, you begin to attract the people that are there for you.
Amen.
So everything you need is in the space. And thank you for my UB team being up here. I see you, Evelyn.
I love it. Hashtag Juneteenth testimonies all over the place today, because I'm like I feel like, well, I already know what it is. It's my sister and myself. I'm like almost everything you're saying. I'm like, yep, because I've had that experience, and that separating. I think for me, and I don't know if this is spirit just calling me to share, maybe for someone out there who may have this challenge for themselves. And I think the hardest challenge for me was, so I come from the Pentecostal church, was the secular side of life, the secular friends, letting go of the friends that may judge you for learning how to walk in two different lanes and learning how to lean more towards the other side and being okay with that. The friends that feel like they own you. And then that was I had to chime in there with the yes, 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 because I've witnessed it so much. We see so much toxicity in our communities with the, I don't deal with that person anymore, so you stop talking to that person, that I don't mess with them. And all of that has always been so petty and childish to me. It's always felt to me that if someone didn't cause you trauma, because I understood what real trauma was, what it was to have peers actually do something to you, for you to actually say, don't mess with that person. And even then, I have people that I know that deal with those people, and I'm not upset with them. It's not their fault, or it's not a fault of that person, because I do understand that hurt people hurt people. And once I got to that level of forgiveness, it's like you said, it all becomes so much freeing. When you spoke about the freedom of once you were able to forgive your mom. I can remember walking in the street one day after some of my healing, after like maybe 3 years of my healing work, and someone that I had met maybe in that third year. We didn't see each other for maybe about 6 months, but I had had a major breakthrough in between that time. And when I saw the person, they just kept looking at me, and they were looking at me all oddly, and they kept going. And then finally they said, "Did you lose weight?" And I'm like, well, actually, physically, I gained weight, but I've lost a lot of spiritual heaviness and a lot of emotional heaviness and turmoil that I was bringing on myself by staying in a place of non-forgiveness and lack of trying to understand and caring to understand. I think there was a point that I was just so angry that I didn't have empathy, that I didn't have the care to stop and say, let me look at this from a different scope. Let me look at this now. I'm a mom now. Let me look at this from this side. Like, what does this look like when you have to still be your whole individual self who hasn't healed, who hasn't found your identity, but now you're raising another person? What does that look like?
So what comes up for me with that is I've always been an individual who is intrigued by behavior and wanting to know why things happen. So something that I even recommend for people to do, and I also share it in the book, is when something is happening, first of all, every behavior has a meaning. Nothing is it's by happenstance. Nothing is accidental. Every behavior has a reason. And when you start to ask yourself why you even feel a way about it, you get to the depth of what is happening in you. If you have not gotten to the space of why is it triggering me? Because a trigger could be different for everybody. It's based on your experience, but triggers come outward, which means it's already in you. So anything that comes up is already present. It's just surfacing. It's just being exposed. So if we don't get to the depth of what's being exposed within us and not take that exposure and blame or deflect, but say, this is exposed for a reason. What do I need to do to make sure no one has that power over me? What is happening within me? Now that it's exposed, now what are you going to do about it? Not about the person, because they're not responsible for it. Even for the people who were once responsible for us, there comes a time in transition when we are now responsible for ourselves. People used to ask me like, oh, I know like being an adult, I love adulthood. Let me tell you why. Because I wasn't always able to make my own decisions. That's why I loved adulthood. I felt like I had too many responsibilities as a kid. So being an adult, I had too many responsibilities, but then I really wasn't making the decisions.
Gotcha.
So being an adult, being able to make my own decisions was a part of freedom for me. It was freeing of my voice. So that's a major thing. I'm always going inward. Well, Danielle, okay, what's your stuff? Yeah, I know this is happening here, but what's your stuff? And until I'm clear about my stuff, I don't need to have a conversation because it does not need to be my stuff connected to yours. I need to know what I'm responsible for. I need to speak about what encounters made me feel a way, and then I can now address or say whatever needs to be said and, what my actions will be moving forward. However, guess what? People don't know. This is all a part of loving yourself. It's the work. It's the work. But also understand, as you love yourself, you begin to understand there's a bullseye when it comes to you. The bullseye. There's assignment, there's associates, there are friends, and there's your inner circle. Everybody is not in the bullseye. You have to know where people are placed in your life, and it's not personal, it's purposeful, because in any of my friendships, in any of my network of people that are called to me, and I am called, people that are called to me. I say that because people that I am called to, it's not always friends. Sometimes it could just be assignment because I have something that they need. I have a seed that needs to be planted for them. As I plant the seed, someone else is planting in me. So knowing who is called to me, as I sit in that space, I take all of that in. When I pay attention to those spaces, that is a part of my growth. That is a part of my discovery. And those are the things that people don't understand. As you begin to know yourself, you know where those categories align. You know what that looks like. And then you begin to operate accordingly. And it's not personal. None of my conversations with my friends are just us chatting it up or chopping it up. We're pouring into one another. We're praying for each other. We're building each other. This is not, and if we see something, we're ladies, yes. And if we see something and something is happening, we don't get off that phone before we pour in, before we find a solution, and before we get to praying. So it has to be purposeful. Nothing for me in these seasons of where I am and finding identity and finding love has to do with wasting time. The more I find out who I am, it pours into my purpose and what I am designed to do. And that's with all confidence.
Absolutely love that. I'm writing down. You just gave me like a whole new meaning to see something, say something. Especially being a New Yorker, we know that slogan very well. So it's nice to have it, like you said, transform words. We came here to transform words today. So today I get to transform how I see something, say something. And that is part of being in a true, accountable, connected friendship, in something that actually has purpose. And it's part of that bullseye. Those are the bullseye.
Bullseye.
The
And
bullseye
personal.
friends, they do see something, say something, and you don't take it personal, and you do allow space for growth with one another. And those are the things that we should definitely be striving for. To me, again, bringing it back to just our conversation around Juneteenth, being that we're on this amazing platform that is focused, and the foundation is all about Juneteenth. To me, that's what they were trying to do. That's what they were looking for. They were looking for these meaningful businesses, meaningful relationships, meaningful what we're doing after work together, not just like, yeah, we can go dancing, we can kick it, but this clubbing thing, this, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I guess I'm in this season of, being 46 and still I'm dealing with ageism. I'm
Come
just
on,
gonna go.
46.
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
go
saying.
there. I'm
Come
about
on,
to go there.
46. You look good.
Thank you. And I
Come
feel
on.
good most days, but I'm also still at that, there's a time that you have to decide which path am I going on? Do I want to be that lady because I work in a bar that is an older crowd and no shame on her because she's fun and I love her, but do I want to be her over there drunk on the floor, somebody having to help me up because my back broke? Or would I like to have a little dance, a little here and there, a little sippy sip here and there, and actually enjoy my life and build actual, tangible, workable relationships that will actually grow into partnerships and actually make impact and change in the world? Because that's what I was born to do.
And all of that goes back to identity. When people understand who they are, whose they are, and what they have, they treat it differently. And that's why every behavior, even down to the woman, do you want to be that person? There's an identity issue going on there. And this is why I have empathy for people. This is why I hear people differently. This is why I see things differently. And literally, when I say God had to give me a new heart because it was messed up. It was broken in glass shattered pieces, being held together.
Be good.
So the empathy that I have for people is beyond what we can humanly do. I love people. I love people. I love people beyond what we see as a floor. I see as an open door and a space to show up and be the light.
I love that.
So it all goes back to love is an identity. The more you understand who you are, the more you're grounded in identity and the more you can operate as you're supposed to. And we are not meant to be alone. We are meant to be this rippling effect. We are meant to be wildfires. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's on a stage full of people or if it's just in your community or just in your home. But just in your home.
Amen.
This is about legacy. This is about sharing and caring and growing. I pay attention to and working. I used to work in a school as well. It was heartbreaking to see what was coming up even for our kids, because we don't have to wait to show children things. We can do it now, even as we're learning ourselves. I didn't have all the answers. I was telling my kids as I was going through it, I was like, listen, I was the same woman, same name, but I was a different mother to you, and you. All of that. Why? Because now I know better. Now I understand more. Now I have done my healing work. Now I have grown. Now I'm whole. Whole. That's different. And it doesn't mean, and let me tell you something. I don't want anybody to get this misconstrued. It does not mean that I don't have my days. It does not mean that I don't have, let me tell you something. This is where community comes in as well. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I feel like, oh, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. But the difference is when you have the tools in your toolbox, you start going in, you start pulling them out. Okay, I'm on a new level at the beginning level again. All right. I need this affirmation. I need the scripture. I need this, I need something practical. What am I going to put in my ears? What am I going to see? Oh, who am I going to call? Because now my circle, like, we pulling into each other. So who do I call to help me, to hold me up today? Because tomorrow I may hold them up. What does that look like? So it's not to say, and even with fearlessness, it's not to say you don't ever show up in these spaces, but how do you respond to it? How do you respond to it? What are you saying? How are you confronting it? And it's not to say that things will not show its face, but how are you annihilating it when it does? That has to do with identity. Who are you? Who are you? So we got to travel that journey. We got to unpack that closet. We have to unpack that closet. And while we're unpacking the closet, we are going to bump into our younger selves. And I'm telling you, your younger self holds more of the jewels than anything else.
I could imagine. It's so funny because I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, because you don't even have a denim acid wash skirt in your closet. You know how much you used to love some denim acid wash skirts. You better get you a denim acid wash skirt for this summer. And I'm gonna get me a denim acid wash skirt for this summer.
Yeah.
Because something about it, I've been telling myself, I don't, and I have to unpack that one because this is like just popped up out of nowhere. Like, what's the thing with the acid wash denim skirt? Why is that become? I don't even know why that's a thing.
When it exposes itself, you travel it. You
But it's there.
Yeah.
It's there, and I'm definitely gonna go looking down that tunnel. So I look forward to discussing and sharing that with you later. Up at the top, Athenia had asked. This is one of those words for me. I'm a New Yorker, you know, we say axe, and somebody asked me one day, "Who are you gonna axe?" And I was like, didn't look like me, of course. And you know, I was like, hey, I'm at work.
Cool.
So since then, that's always been one of those words that come up for me. And I'm just like, oh shit, there we go again. It came out like this. So Athenia asked if you could share how you actually help people transform in what they wear. And I kind of want to jump into this just a little bit before you share what transformation in process is, being that I can actually have a little testimony of my own. So I have done a consultation with Danny, you guys. And in our consultation, I came because I thought that I needed to just find an identity for the high healer, my spiritual just the look that I would have whenever I'm leading any kind of spiritual event. So that's what I thought I came for. But what I ended up coming for was actually realizing that I had a struggle with comfort. That comfort was something that was really important to me, no matter what I was doing. I didn't like dressing up. Like even my cousin's wedding, where I was a bridesmaid, I just really wanted some jeans and I wanted to cut the dress and just wear the top, and that was it. So she helped me get to the bottom that as a child, I was dressed pretty fancy. I wore silk blouses, leather pants to Thanksgiving, silk ribbons to match, and just always completely dressed up, but also a clumsy kid. So there was this one, I can't remember what holiday it was, I think Thanksgiving, and I had on these brown leather, beautiful cognac pants. I remember them to this day. And I dropped something greasy on them. And whoo, was there a storm in that house for the rest of that evening. I was taken to the back, completely embarrassed, got a beating, you know, just part of childhood life at that point. And it left a scar. It left a scar that got covered over and scabby and all that good stuff. And it put me in a place where I didn't realize that I was really looking to have a little girl that was in sneakers that could just run and sweat and fall in the dirt and it be completely okay. That arms got wrapped around me and it was like, go take it off and, you know, change. And that was that. Go put on something different. And yeah, so when I shared at the top, because the tears are starting to come back now, because the little girl just wants her kicks and she just wants to look like everybody else. And she wants to go to school in the South Bronx dressed like everybody else. She's going to school with children that are experiencing relocation and having to share clothes. And here she is all fancied out, looking like she came out of Bloomingdale's. It sounds like a complaint and a gripe, but at that time in my life, it caused a lot of trauma. Yeah. So because those children were angry and going through their own trauma. Yeah. So yeah, jumped and dragged for my clothes and just not understanding that. So now being able to look at that at the top, I shared that I understood that that wasn't done out of an action that wasn't based on love. My mama has always been the pretty one in the room, the fancy, the stylish one in the room. So of course I had to match her and it makes sense. And it was just her response. She had lost her husband. I'm sure, you know, raising this kid on her own, you know, it was probably, you know, things that were coming up for her that I can understand as the parent. So that is an example of what Danny has done for me and with me. And we're going to continue to work on this because, as I just shared, someone's coming up with this acid wash skirt that has nothing to do with my mama. It has all to do with something else, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. But now I'm going to pass it back to Danny so she can really share with you what the purpose of transformation and process is. Thank you.
First, Jamie, I want to acknowledge your vulnerability. I want to say thank you for sharing that, because your shares help other people. And I feel honored to be in a work like this because transformation in process, a lot of times clothing becomes our armor. Clothing is our armor, but they're items that we have relationships with. And they literally speak to who we see ourselves as. So, yes, I do events where people are like, hey, I just need an outfit for, but based on what's coming up for me and what they're choosing or the way that they're choosing it, if it's connected to their true identity, those are the things that I tap into. So, wherever I'm led in transformation, I don't dress mannequins. I tell people all the time, I don't mannequin dress at all. I don't just throw clothes on people. And like I said before, the center of styling for me is you. How are you walking out life? And I'm not talking about you, who you see yourself as, but you, who are you called to be? And your clothing has to connect to who you are authentically. When you step in a room, people see you. They see you because you're wearing who you are. And that's what that looks like. So walking through transformation and process, it literally is what it says, transforming, down from the blueprint, even the way that questions are asked, it's to get under the clothing, to make sure that what you're wearing is your armor, is your skin. And understand that just because clothing fits you, don't mean you're supposed to wear it. Because I have clothes that was for her, but it ain't for me. It ain't for me.
Wait, that's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking back to when we were having that call, and I'm like, there were points that I was like, well, why is she asking me this? We supposed to just be getting to the outfit for this.
I know you are. I know that. You know.
For the high healer. I'm like, but what does it do with the price of tea in China? And then I'm like, oh, all the prices of the teas.
I was freaking sorry. I get it, JB. JB, I'm so happy that you just continue the journey and begin to walk with me, because you be like, no, like, but you definitely, I'm grateful for your participation because I understand. And I also understand, and this is what I say to anybody, like I said, I don't mannequin dress. So I only walk as you decide to walk with me. I don't get it twisted. I'm midwifing, so I have a bit of a push. I do, but it's because that pimple is ready to pop. But it's still your choice. So I understand that because that's how I operate in styling, everybody is not going to be my client, just like everybody ain't going to be my friend, just like everybody going to be my assignment. Do you understand? But if you're willing, I'm going to be that midwife until you deliver that baby. Because anything connected to you, as far as clothing, needs to literally speak to who you are. And that's where we're going. It's a journey that's worked out. And it's progress and process. So it's not overnight, but believe me, and I get to say this, an experience, the transformation and process with Danny B, it's definitely an experience that takes you out of the box and shifts how you see yourself. So you won't walk in and leave out the same. Even if one thing is different, you'll start to see things differently and what you're putting on yourself and how you're wearing it. And when you're doing those things and paying attention to yourself, it begins to show on the outside. Yeah. Weight lifted, light shining. That's what we're going for. All right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You're so welcome, Taisha. Thank you to everyone that's been in the chat today. I'm so grateful for you all being here. Danny, this conversation, I'm like, we could go on and on and on and on and on. I know we probably could, just having real conversation about real life and the things that, like you said, we come here to make change and transform people. So any space that we show up in, just know that this is going to be the type of conversation that we have. That's the beauty of this circle. And I want everybody, don't forget to please, please, please register for the book launching for Self-Love. It's a Good Work. That's on January 18th. The link is in the chat. Don't forget. Don't forget.
Oh, yes. And do you see, listen, let me tell you about this cover, y'all. I'm gonna tell you about this cover. So one day I woke up, I had a dream, and I saw people looking at themselves in the mirror, and I saw the reflection of it in like Polaroids. I called up my sis, B. Kane, the CEO. She's a whole strategist and definitely a creative. And I was like, B, this is what I'm seeing. She was like, don't show me nothing. Don't show me nothing. You said enough. I'm just gonna do it. The next day, this is what she sent me. And it was everything that I saw in my dream. It was everything that it needed to be. So I just want to shout her out. She never did a book cover before, and this was her first book cover. And I was honored to be her first. And this is fire. She killed this.
So she definitely did. Yeah. What's her name?
Her name is Bianca Kane. She is also the CEO of Women Under One Roof. B. Kane, the CEO on Instagram. Beautiful. And she also made the flyer for my event.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Listen, that's what it's all about. Like I made jokes at the top about it being a shameless plug, but none of this is a shameless plug at all. This is what we're here for. We're here to share with each other, grow each other, support each other, all that good stuff. And I do have a question for you. What exactly does Juneteenth mean to you, Danny B?
So let me tell you how I've always heard of Juneteenth, just hearing about Juneteenth. But until I really got involved, even last year, for me, the depth of community and discovery, that has what the community, discovery, and connection. And even this year is so form-fitting, the theme being kaleidoscope. Because for me, kaleidoscope is connecting all the areas, connecting the generations, connecting the history, connecting self back to the bullseye, connecting who you are, who you were, who you are, and who you're supposed to be. So all of these things, connection, community, it's Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth. Kaleidoscope.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us today, sis. I absolutely love you. And I can't wait to see you in June.
Yes, I'm excited. Guys,
I am at the retreat next month.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later, Jamie. But as far as Juneteenth, also, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I am also doing I'm in charge of the fashion show that will be on the Sunday. Yes, fashion show. Last year it was amazing, and this year it's gonna be even bigger and better. We're currently looking for designers. So if you know any designers, please go to Juneteenth NYC and look for the fashion designer application, and please sign up. We are currently vetting from February 1st to March 7th. So if you know how to put some things together and you have some photos and you know it's your time, please share.
All right, I'm shameless plugging myself as a jewelry designer because I'm about to dive back into my metal smithing. So we'll talk. If you have any ideas that you want executed, holla at you.
Okay, Jamie.
Girl.
Thank you.
So thank you, Danny. I will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I appreciate you guys.
So if you guys really love this episode, could you please like and subscribe? Feel free to share it with your communities. We are definitely trying to grow our Lunch and Learn community, get these videos out there. If you know anyone that would be an amazing guest for us, send them our way. And thanks for joining us. Oh, and don't forget, we're still accepting vendors for the up and coming Juneteenth weekend, for the Saturday and for the Sunday as well. Definitely for the Sunday. I'm not sure about the Saturday, don't quote me, but if you go in the chat box and hit the link, you'll be able to find out what's available. And thank you guys. See you next week with our guests for next week. Uh-oh. I love it. Real life moments. Dropping things all over the room. See you guys.
it's a last call. Thinking that I know you're not sure. Make a long stop, ready or not. I see you, but I need to know more. What you wanna do? Cause I know we didn't dance, but I saw you watching on the dance floor. Maybe at the exit door, and maybe we could talk some more. Oh yeah, you stand beside me. Oh Lord, you're watching me, and the feelings rise.
Greetings. Good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly Lunch and Learn.
In terms of business, if you have a dream, go for it. Pursue it. Work hard at it, because with anything that you want to do, it's going to come hard work. You know, if you don't put the hard work, if you don't put the time into it, it's not going to flourish the way you want to.
Maybe advice for anybody who's looking to start a business, like just do it. Start off small and then kind of expand. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming, but like once you're in it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this long time ago?
Love you. Tell yourself, I love me too. I love you, Omena. Love you. When you open your heart and your mind, you're opening up to your blessing.
Yeah.